This video is the putting back together of the Vicky FM38 engine. This is what it looks like on Victoria Vicky 2, which is what this bike is. But normally it would have been, they call it an outboard motor hanging here at the back of the bike with a petrol tank on the carrier. But I've already done a video taking it apart, so now I'm doing the video of putting it back together again. So I was waiting on parts to come. I ordered this little unit, which is the gear change little pin, and as I was at it I decided to get the top piece so that I would have new grooves on it for the changing of the gears. I got new seals, a new washer, I got new gaskets, so I'm ready now to put it back together. This is where these go. This is the gear change mechanism here with the serrated section down, and then it operates this pin which goes down through the seal there, and on this bike it's worn. It was also worn on the engine that I'm restoring here, which is the same engine. So I'm going to start now and put it all back together. There are all the component parts in the boxes as I took them off. So the first thing I'm doing there now is I'm putting in a 6201 bearing. This is a brand new one, so it's got to go in there. This is the old one that came out of it. So I must heat up that there now and tap it into place, and the circlip at the back will hold it in place. Now that's the 6201 bearing in place, and what I'm just doing now at the moment is I'm going putting in the gears, and I'm going checking to try and see if I can figure out how the gears work on it. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. This is the pin that I got. The other one was worn down quite a bit, so I bought these new ones. I wasn't able to buy one of these. I was worried that there was round edges on them, but I haven't seen them for sale anywhere, so I assume that they're okay. Now I've test fitted it there and it seems to be working. So the pin goes down here, down through there, like so. This piece here then goes on onto the gears like so, and you press it into place, and the serrated section is going to be up on the top. This washer, it's very thin, goes on top of the bearing like so, and then I'll put that down into it. Now this serrated section must be up, as I said, so it's going to be going in like that, and it's going to be touching there and touching there. This pin here then goes through there to hold it in place, because there's a hole there for the pin to go through, and there's a bolt with the lever goes down through, which is threaded into that. Right, so I'm going to try and put it in there now again. So this is how it goes in, serrated section at the top. Now I've got to locate it inside with the pin, which is this one. So I'm just putting the screwdriver down there and just prising it back and forward so that it lines up, and then I can get the screw with the lever section on it down into it. I got the other one on alright at the bottom, so I just need to tighten it up a bit now. Now I've put the other nut down and threaded it into place. Now what I don't know is the exact position to put it on, but it'll be easy to undo this bolt, because this is the lever that pushes it in and out. So it's going in and out there now. Right, that's that. So I'm actually going to put the gasket on there now, and I'm going to use some gasket maker as well, just to help it to stay in position. I always do that just to be on the safe side. So this is the gasket for here at this side. So I'm going to put the gasket sealer. I'll actually put it on here first around. I'm just spreading out the gasket maker there with my fingers. When the casings go together anyway, they'll press it out. Right, that's that. Now to put on the gasket, and it goes on this way, I think. Nope, wrong way around. There's a little pin here which is used for lining up the engine, the other half of the engine onto it. Right, that's one section of it done. This is the other section that goes on there. No, this one here. So I'm just going to give that a small bit of a clean off there, and then I'll put the gasket maker on that and put it on. And it's held in place then with these bolts, and I have to put nuts on them. When I was taking the thing apart, this nut actually, or this bolt actually came out. So one of the two of those, I can't remember which one. Okay. Right, I've put the gasket maker on there now. And I'm going to put it on here. Goes down over that shaft. I must line up with the bolts. I have to give it a tap of a rubber mallet. It requires two hands. There are special washers on all of those nuts, and they go on like so, I think, and then you stop them from the nut from opening. You turn that section of it up. So that's number 3. Which is threaded in. And this is the one that came up through the whole casing, which is here. I'll tighten that down, and there are 2. So now I must put on the conrod, which goes down through that hole there and sits down onto that section there. So now I must put in all the little needle bearings. These are the old gear change mechanism. So I think there was 16 of them, so I must get all them now, and I must put them all in there, which is not an easy job. Now I've installed the 16 needle bearings there, and the next thing to install now is this washer, which goes on like so, and then I must put on the split pin. I must get my special pliers for that. Just putting on the circlip there now. Make sure that it's in the right groove. Which I think it is. So that's the conrod in place there now. Now this is 15/24/7 bearing, and it looks to be in good shape. I'm actually not going to change it. I was going to change it, but I don't think I will. And this is the little sleeve that goes in there. So I must put on another gasket here now, which is this one. So I'll put on the gasket maker. That's better, it lines up, there's actually holes there. So I'll put that on there now. The gasket maker in place, so I'm going to put on the gasket there now. I put more gasket maker now on that side before I'll put this on, and then it's held in place with these 7 screws, 3 and 4, 7 screws. Now that's the gasket maker in place. And 7 screws, if they'd come out of the box. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Right, so I'll tighten all them up there now. The sprocket goes on here, but I'm still waiting on sprockets to come. Hopefully they'll be here tomorrow. They're on the way from Sweden. Okay, I'll tighten those up. That's that cover now, and gasket and everything with the gasket sealant in it. So hopefully there'll be no leaks from it. I think this nut is the oil nut for underneath the bottom, so I'll see if I have another washer, a new washer just to fit it, and I'll fit that next. So I found a new fibre washer in my box of washers, so that'll be going on there. Like so. I think it's a 19mm spanner. Yeah. Right, I'll just tighten up that fully when I have 2 hands free. Now I can't actually go on to the head part of it because I don't have a head that I can actually use. So I'm waiting to get one of those. It's a perfect head, but this section here is broken off, onto which is threaded this little fella here that I purchased. That threads on there, but it can't. It'll go under. I'll just see if it will go under. Now it threads on okay, but it's just not stable. So I'll either have to try and get it fixed in some way, or I will have to get another one. And it's a shame because the barrel is perfect inside it. These are the two circlips to hold the piston in place, one there and one at the other side. So I'll install them now. That's the first one in place there now. Turn it around and do the other one. That's the second one in place there. Now to put the head onto it. I'll lubricate the piston with some... I'm going to put some multi-spray on it. And then put the piston or the head on. It's on over the first piston ring there now, so I must just turn it sideways so that I can see that this doesn't sit over. There's a little pin on the side of the piston that you have to make sure you don't sit the piston ring on. Of course, I forgot to install the gasket before I put it on, so I must take it off again. That's the gasket in place now. If I wasn't taking this off again, I would actually use this gasket sealant. It's a silicone sealant that goes hard and is still a bit elasticated. So I would put that on first and on here before I put the head back on. But as I'm taking it off, I'm only just going to sit it on there now for the purposes of this video. So the correct way to put it on is that this here is the adjusting lever screws in through here to adjust the gears inside the engine. So this must be at this side. Now you have to lift it up ever so slightly and put in the spring washers. Like so, and then you have to lift it up another bit to get this nut threading on, and when you have all the nuts on there, then as you tighten them down, the head drops down. Now as you can see, I've got the 4 nuts in there, and you just tighten them down, and as you tighten them down, then the head will go down and sit down onto the top of the engine. That's the head now sitting down correctly, all the bolts tightened down. The next thing to do now is to put on the gasket, and there's actually already a metal gasket here, so it's perfect. So I'm just going to leave it and put the head on. So that's it down, and there are four nuts and 4 washers was what's on it that came off of it. And that's the 4 nuts and washers in place. I'm surprised there's actually no spring washers, but I think normally there aren't spring washers on the top head. Anyway, I'm just going to tighten them down there now. As I say, I'll be taking off this section here to get it welded, so I'll just tighten them down lightly. I'm just after taking the carburetor apart there and cleaning all the bits and pieces on it. There's a small little screw on the end of that there which you have to take off and free out. There's a very, very minute little hole, I presume. There is a hole there anyway. It's freed out now. So that's the bottom section. That's some sort of a strainer that goes inside there, and another fiber washer, the main body. This goes into the main body here, and then this is the throttle lever, the spring, and the top section. There is a screw, a long screw on that, but it wasn't on it, so I'll have to get one. Well, I actually will have it ordered, it's on the way. So that's the part that goes onto the engine. and they're the nuts that hold it, and that's the top air filter. So I'm going to put all that back together now and put it back on the engine. So this fibre washer here is in good condition, so I've left it, and this filter goes down over those holes there to filter. This goes down over that, down to the bottom. That's where the petrol goes out into the engine. This fibre washer goes on there. I must thread it down because it threads down, and I'm going to put that in there and tighten it up. I have the little screw put on, so I'll just put on the fibre washer first. That's the fibre washer down in place. I must just tighten this in place. Somebody previously has taken it out and has damaged the top of it, so it only you have to use a vice grips to get it in and out. So that's that in place, and now I'm going to screw this piece in there. That's that. Right, the next thing to do is to put in this, and there should be a little small indentation inside here that this slides down along. I don't know if you can see it there now, but it's down along that side there, so I must line it up with that. That's gone down into it there now. The next thing to put in is the spring and the cap. Cap threads on. Now there is no washer on it there. I'll actually put a fibre washer on it. So that's it put on there now, and I put a fibre washer on as well. Right. The next thing to do now is that's it complete. I need to put on the air filter, and I need to put this on the engine. I need to put this on the engine first, and it goes on there. So this is the new gasket for it. So what I'll do is I'll put on the flexible gasket with it as well, just to make sure. That's the gasket in place. So now I'm going to put on this little unit. It goes on like so. And these two. I think that's the way to go. That's the two nuts in place there now, and I've tightened up the piece to hold the nut from opening. So now I must put on the carburetor onto that, and it's tightened with that screw. I think it goes like that with the screw inside. Right, so I must tighten up the screw. It's hard to see the screw. I'm just going to take it out into the light. Yeah, I think you can see the screw down there that you have to tighten. I put a bit of gasket sealant as well in there when I was putting it on. Now I'm putting on the air filter. I think that's the way it goes. Like so. And you have to tighten up that screw there. Now the screw should be on the outside, not on the inside, because there's a casing going over here, and if the screw was in there the casing wouldn't go on properly, so the screw has to be on the outside. As I said, I'm waiting for the screw to come from Sweden for there. Can't see it on the other one. I'd have to take the casing off. But anyway, it's just it screws down in there and the throttle cable goes down into it. I might have one on the other engine actually. This is another engine that I bought. No. I don't know if the carburetor is on it. This is the screw here. I found the other carburetor in the box there, and as I say, I've ordered them. I'll just pull it off. Right, that's it there. So that goes on there. Now I actually have them, but they're not as long. The cable would actually go a long ways down into that one and not so much into that one, so basically that would be about to go of it, so I'm short that much thread. Maybe you could use them, I don't really know, but anyway I'm going to stick with the correct one. And it goes on there. Like so. So I'll wait until the one comes from Sweden. I've just been working on the Dynamo there, and there was no coil on it, so I put a new coil in. I've soldered the HT cable onto it, connected it to the condenser, and I've installed a new lighting coil. The lighting coil that was in it probably is okay, but I had to take it out because I wasn't able to solder it at the time, so I just decided to put a new one in there. So that's all connected now, so I'm just going to install it back here, and when it's installed there, after it's installed, this goes on. It's a little spring that goes on in there, but I must attach this first, but I must push the HT cable out through there and up to the plug and put the plug cap onto it. Now I've just put it on there and I've lined it up. There's two holes, and these are the short screws that go on it, and I have the HT cable going out through the hole, and it's long enough, a bit too long, but I must push this rubber back down and into the casing there, but that's okay, we can do that. So I'm going to put in the two screws here now. Now I have the two screws on, and I haven't tightened them up yet, because when you're doing the timing you need to be able to turn this backwards and forwards to get the timing correct on it. So I will tighten them up just for the sake of tightening, but when you're doing the timing they have to be loosened again. You have to set the points first and then move this around when you're aligning it up 100% correct. I'm not an expert on it, so normally I get somebody else to do it for me, but that's it on there. And as I was saying, the spring, that's the spring that goes on there. like so. Now in a lot of the mopeds that I've dealt with, there's a little woodruff key goes in here, but on this FM38 engine there's no woodruff key going in anywhere. It's just tightened with a nut, and I will put a spring washer on it. I think the spring is to keep it pushed out against when you tighten it up. So I'm actually going to put on the rotor on the end of that there now, which I have on the engine that I bought. So this wire here coming off of the lighting coil is for the lights, and that goes on there. It's attached on to the bottom of that there, and the wire on the bike then comes off of there. Right, this is the other engine that I have, so I'm taking the rotor off of it to put on my one. This is the type of rotor that's on an issue quickly. Now those rotors will fit, but from what I found with the other bike, it gets caught on the cover casing. So this is the correct one. It's got a slope on it which doesn't get caught on the casing. Right, this is the other engine that I have, so I'm taking the rotor off of it to put on my one. This is the type of rotor that's on an issue quickly. Now those rotors will fit, but from what I found with the other bike, it gets caught on the cover casing. So this is the correct one. It's got a slope on it which doesn't get caught on the casing. That's the rotor in place there now on the Dynamo. I've just put on that side cover there that I got with the other engine. There's a bit of an old plate on top of it because there are two holes inside there. I might actually take all that off, but I've cleaned it off, and it turned out pretty good. So yeah, I think I'll possibly take that plate off if I can find a piece of material that's light enough to put on there. Kind of an aluminium, stainless steel kind of a colour would look better. Now the last piece to put on is the muffler, and I have all the component parts out here, and I was just looking at the spare parts list for it. So basically what happens is that this rod goes in here. I'm not sure now whether it's this way or this way. I'll see in a minute when I'll put it in. And then this goes on like so. And then the muffler goes in like so, and the end piece goes on like so, and the rod will come out through the end of it. There's a special little thing here that goes over there, and then a spring washer and a washer and a dome nut. I'm not sure if I'll be using them all. The gasket, and it's attached to the engine. Some plastic there, and it's attached with an M6x65 and an M6x45. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put hopefully spring washers on as well to stop it from coming off. So there's a bit of damage to the end of that there, but it's nothing serious. So I'm going to put all that together there now, and I'll video it as I do it. Now I've installed the rod there, and what holds the rod in place is the M6x65, which goes through somewhere here, and that holds that in place. And then now there's supposed to be, according to the spare parts number 2, there's supposed to be 3 sets of asbestos cord. Now, I don't have any asbestos cord, so I'm just trying to think, what am I going to use to seal it up? Maybe something for a stove or something like that. I'm just going to have a look and see if I have some stove cord. This is the fire rope for sealing stoves. So I've taken the thing apart and I'm stuffing some of the stuff in there, and hopefully that will seal it up. Now I'm going to put on this next. Now I've tapped it into place there with the mallet. Next thing to do now is to put in the muffler. So I'm stuffing in that fire thread there now with a screwdriver, and I must do it at this side as well, and that's it then. So I've put it in there now on both sides, and I've put it in there. The next thing to do now is to put the rear piece onto that. So there's a special piece now that goes on the end there. That's it in place. Right. I think I'll probably only use the spring washer and the dome nut at the end. So that's it at the end there now, with the dome nut and the spring washer on it. I must put on the gasket, and I must put on this side bracket here that holds it onto some part of the bike. So now I've finished it off there. I've attached the M6x45 and the M6x65. I've only put a spring washer here, I didn't put one here, but it's probably better to do it. Also, this must be loose. Before you attach that there, you have to loosen this nut here, because this nut is pulling on the bar inside that this bolt goes through, and if it's not loose you won't be able to screw it in. So loosen that and then tighten it for the finish. So that's the engine done now. I'm just waiting on spring for here. It attaches on there, and I'm waiting for the screw that goes down there as well. So it's ready for doing the timing now and setting it up for running.